Xanatos says he wants to speak with Goliath and explains that 3 of his discs were stolen by the bad guys and he wants the Gargoyles to go retrieve them. Because hell, who better to handle computer theft than mythical creatures 1,000 years at a time? Have you tried using goat's blood? Perhaps that will restore your discs for you. Goliath says that he should use the human justice thing, but Xanatos points out that an investigation would turn up them, and they'd be locked up for study.
Humans will fear you. And betray us.
Have I made it clear yet that I hate your kind? I could take a dump on your desk if it'd make you understand. But Goliath finally asks what Xanatos wants of them, so he explains about the suspected thieves. They work for Cyberbiotics, with data divided up at 3 different locations, and believe me, Cyberbiotics has really put Xanatos' plans for the Howard Hughes Acts to shame with their facilities. The first is a skyscraper built on a tiny little island. The second is a secret underground lair. Now, both are impressive displays, but they are completely outdone by the third.
And the third is being kept in a huge air fortress that flies in a holding pattern over the city.
That's right, a gigantic hovering base located over New York City. Oh, Cyberbiotics. Mwah! I love you. It's completely reckless, economically ludicrous, and makes commuting a bitch. It's perfect. Sure, it costs us $500,000 a day in jet fuel just to stay up here, but remember, we don't have to pay real estate taxes. I'm sure it'll all even out somehow.
It seems an absurd amount of protection, I know.
Absurd? Nah. When I think business R&D at its best, I often think of Laputa from Gulliver's Travels. Well, Goliath says that he'll think about it, but in the meantime, he needs to sleep and then have this meeting with Eliza, where they're joined by the old guy just in case this was an ambush. It may seem paranoid, but then there are only 6 of them left now, and one's a dog, so they got to be careful. This leads into one of those areas where the answer is perfectly obvious in reality, but opens up questions within, which, exploring it, leads into that area of why are you doing this with a kids show thing. As I said in the beginning, I'm not going to talk down to this show just because it shared its time slot with a show about a farting warthog. Gargoyles don't have names, but as they are in this new world where names are important and there are so few of them left, they all get to have some. The old guy being called Hudson because of the Hudson River, and the others will be named after New York locations too. Now, out of universe, it makes it easier for young people to understand who's who. The names are kind of familiar. In universe, the idea that they have no names nor seem the need for them implies that there's a different sort of community arrangement and mindset, one where the individual is less important as an individual than the fact that they are part of the group. By that I mean, to call attention to the individual by naming it can be seen as setting it apart from the group rather than being an inextricable part of it. Consequently, the betrayal cuts so deep because it is something one gargoyle just wouldn't do to another. Such a thing is so against the group it's unfathomable, and thus creates this divide between their kind and humans because of how incomprehensibly evil it seems.
I see no walls to guard this city. How do you protect it from invaders?
Well, our biggest worries aren't from outside. They're from inside.
That I am all too familiar with.
And it creates a mistrust that runs deep. Oh, and Elisa's line has a creepy irony to it, considering the numerous establishing shots of New York that showcase the World Trade Center. If only in real life all we had to worry about was crazy commandos with laser weapons and silly flying research facilities. I suppose it all gives us a healthy dose of perspective, though.
Don't tell me there's this charming undiscovered bistro behind that dumpster.
Give it a rest, Margot.
What do you expect? You only paid $40,000 for the car.
And God knows some people need it.
Must be interference. I can't get through.
Wonderful. Priceless. Now what do we do?
This is the second worst birthday this guy has ever had.
Well, maybe I can fix it.
You have to call a repairman to plug in the coffee maker.
Okay, Brendan, keep your story straight. We got lost, and Margot met with a horrible accident while you were tinkering with the engine, tragically blowing the sour bitch straight to hell, where she can nag the living shit out of the devil about how it's too damn hot in here. Why are you only a junior partner, Brendan? You're useless. But some hoodlums interrupt, and as Margot bravely locks Brendan out of the car, Elisa shows up to try to stop them. They follow her into the alley, only to find...
It's a monster! Trash it!
You know what? That's actually a more plausible reaction I think I get in a lot of the live action stuff I cover. Oh, a giant monster in the projects. Yeah, I'm so scared. It should have stayed in Crapsylvania where you belong, Dracula. Goliath deals with them, but Margot and Brendan run off in terror, to his disgust. But as he comments on how crap this city is, Elisa points out that he's showing the same kind of judgment that others are showing towards him, only seeing the worst that humanity can offer rather than the good. Then the universe has a good laugh at this, and Goliath is attacked in the park by the commandos again, who drug him with a dart. There's always somebody from the Ministry of Irony around to deliver when required. But Elisa helps Goliath to escape and find a transmitter on his back that led the commandos right to him. She has a plan, though.
Go on, go on. Go. Go. There, let him chase Rover instead of us.
There he is! Get him! But soon dawn comes and Goliath turns to stone, so Elisa keeps the commandos busy so that they can't find him. Look at that guy's reaction. Holy crap, we can get killed? I thought this was a cartoon. Actually, later on, it looks like it might actually be a dart gun, so he's alive, assuming enough sedative to take down a gargoyle isn't lethal to a human. She manages to take them all out and watches over Goliath until sunset, when he's automatically healed. Goliath is impressed. He doesn't say it, but we can see that he recognizes that she held up the agreement of mutual protection that the captain had broken, and for no reason other than altruism. That goes a long way towards restoring his trust in at least one human. Everyone back at the castle in the sky are happy to see Goliath again, and after Hudson's name is revealed, everyone else gets one too. Brooklyn, Broadway, and Lexington.
I guess he'll need one as well now.
Oh, I've got one for him too.
Vince Clortho, Keymaster of Gozer. To make their reunion complete, Goliath's old squeeze is revealed to be alive and with Xanatos. The story is that she pursued Goliath that night and so wasn't smashed by the Vikings, that she was put to sleep by the same spell and awakened when her statue was brought to this castle. She thinks they should show their gratitude by helping Xanatos raid 3 rival corporate bases in one night, and Goliath agrees, both for that reason and also to try to put a stop to the attacks made on them. So Goliath and Blue Girl break into the flying fortress, but they're discovered. Interestingly, Goliath does still show a medieval mentality. When it was kill or be killed, that time, the obvious pragmatic approach to a fight was you have to do what you have to do to stay alive, even if it means killing the other guy. It's different than what you might normally expect in a mere kids show, where the leader should always be noble, use violence only when necessary, and the bad guys always get out of the planes before they blow up.
Wait. What are you doing?
What does it look like? I'm making sure they don't cause us more trouble later.
No! To kill in the heat of battle is one thing, but not like this.
The centuries have made you weak, Goliath.
Thank you. Brooklyn, Broadway, and Lexington get to attack the island skyscraper, but there are a few thousand guards waiting for them. Luckily, they can dodge it enough to get to the floor above and just break through that room's ceiling in order to get to the disc. Word gets back to the captain, I guess, of the underground lair's security, wearing his Love Boat-style hat. Hudson allows himself to be captured so that Bronx can get the element of surprise, and after all the hours of TV that he's been watching, he's learned a thing or two from the Fonz, and that's disc 2 down. Then it's off to the airship, where another captain sporting a similar hat tries to deal with things, while simultaneously trying to get his men to stop peeing out the windows. Goliath and his babe are able to swipe the disc, and for good measure, she trashes the airship so it has to crash. Luckily, it's into the river instead of some building. But the mission is finally over.
Rest assured that the knowledge on these discs will be put to beneficial use for humans and gargoyles alike.
Everything to change the world, housed within these 5 megabytes. But as Goliath goes off to see Elisa, Blue Babe gets jealous, but only because she believes Xanatos is the only human that they can trust, and all the rest should die. Goliath rightly points out that even if he thought that way, it's 7 of them versus an entire world, and one of them is a dog. Things get worse when Goliath meets Elisa, who says that the bug they found was stamped with a logo from one of Xanatos' own companies, that he probably put it on Goliath himself. And to round out yet another shitty day in the life of Goliath, which there are oh so many, they didn't retrieve the discs, they stole them. They belonged to Cyberbiotics, and Xanatos wanted them. So naturally, to acquire them, he merely transported an entire Scottish castle to the top of a New York skyrise to acquire a collection of mythical creatures, whom he deceived with a destructive battle caused by a squad of highly trained mercenaries that he hired himself so that they would wind up performing the heist, believing it was retribution and protection against the framed culprits. It was almost too easy! Xanatos has decided that, now that he has 5 juicy megs of info, the Gargoyles have outlived their usefulness, and so he'll have to destroy them. He plans to wait until morning and then smash him with a hammer, but Blue Girl is in on this, so she says that they should do it now so that he can test his new squad of robot gargoyles, armed with laser weapons. But alas, Goliath makes swift work of them, causing 2 of them to actually fly right into each other. Nice programming, Xanatos. Who put together your flight plan?
There's only one robot left.
Oh, Counselor Troy, I might have known. So after they defeat the last robot, she and Xanatos come out with heavy weapons, and she's been named Demona, says that this is all Goliath's fault, that she and the captain had a perfect plan. The Gargoyles leave with Goliath for the distraction, the sacking takes place as it did, and then they could all return and take the castle for themselves. But Goliath is enraged over this revelation, that what happened wasn't his fault for not following the plan, it was hers. He had blamed the humans for betraying him, but in truth, it was just as much that one of his own betrayed the humans, and in so doing, betrayed her own kind. And as I said, to a gargoyle, that would be unfathomable. So she tries to off Goliath, but Elisa interferes, and the 2 are left helpless, plummeting over the edge. So Goliath has to make a choice, his love or his human ally. And he chooses the latter, letting Demona fall, battered by the stones so that she can't fly away. Breakups are a bitch. Enraged over this, Goliath prepares to drop Xanatos over the side, just like he had chastised Demona over at the beginning of this episode. But the others point out that murdering him is something that she would do, so he finally relents. And with Xanatos hauled off to prison, the Gargoyles can claim the castle for themselves. Go team! The Awakening is an impressive start to the series. It has lots of action, fascinating character growth, and provides us plenty of backstory and info on the Gargoyles without getting mired in exposition. Yet simultaneously keeps more questions unanswered. Where did they come from? Are they natural or magical? What happened to the eggs in the rookery? Why is one of them a dog? And Xanatos, while I joked about his plan, it's clear that the man has wheels within wheels going on, that the Gargoyles was about more than just acquiring those discs, but finding a potential resource that he could exploit. It speaks of his mindset that he felt that only through deception could he gain Goliath's loyalty. And ironic that it was the opposite that earned Elisa that in the end. It could be that Demona colored his perception, though, since she likely prompted him to take this action, to bring the castle and deceive Goliath. Gargoyles was created by Greg Weisman, who is producing the currently running animated series Young Justice. He frequently includes Star Trek cast members. You might have recognized the voices of Jonathan Frakes and Marina Sirtis. Goliath's husky tone is none other than Keith David of numerous roles, including the classic John Carpenter's The Thing and as Captain Anderson in the Mass Effect series. The story was written primarily by Michael Reeves, who actually collaborated with Diane Duane on the TNG episode Where No One Has Gone Before, and some Star Wars novels, including the popular Death Star, was written by him and another guy too. And he's also written numerous popular animated series. We're going to be taking a look at a few more episodes next month, so you can see how the Gargoyles are handling things in 90s New York. God help them all.
Pay a man enough, and he'll walk barefoot into hell.